How's it going, everyone? Brett from the Nerds with Chainsaws podcast here. This is going to be part 2 of the last episode of our Helldivers update discussion. So if you missed the first part, go ahead and go back and watch the previous episode to get caught up on what's going on. But anyways, enjoy the episode.
I think that ends weapons.
Yeah.
Other updated recoil stance modifiers. We made changes to the recoil stance modifiers to make them more consistent and also reward being prone more. Almost all of them will improve the recoil, and only... I think that's a typo. And only A2 have been made worse, and only by 10%. So I'm guessing standing is now real hard to control. Crouched is like what standing might have used to be, and prone's like fucking laser.
I don't know. I actually haven't heard very much about that at all.
Guess that's going to be something we're going to have to test.
Yeah.
General fixes. Here's one I was going to mention. Removed modifier AA defenses, reducing the stratagems by 1 slot. That one was annoying.
Yeah, it was.
It was annoying, but I mean, I liked it because it made you really think about what you wanted to bring. I understand what they put here of, for now we remove this one because it only encourages to bring the best stratagems and does not promote variety. But I mean, not being able to rely on your stratagems, only being able to take 2 of them, or 3 of them. I think that was kind of cool. Because, like, yeah, you don't get to bring your normal kit. What are you dropping?
I really think they need to take a look at what Deep Rock Galactic does with mission modifiers and do that.
Deep Rock's mission modifiers are good.
Because currently, all of the mission modifiers in Helldivers are negatives for the player. Whereas in Deep Rock, it's like, oh, this mission has 3 negative modifiers, but it has twice the amount of rewards because it has like triple gold or double gold on it. It's like, okay, so it might be worth doing the god-awful mission to get the extra reward. Or they also have fun ones like the fucking helium or whatever. Or like...
I thought you were going to say goddamn ghost. Dude,
oh, the ghost, that one's fun too.
That one's fucking annoying sometimes.
It's annoying sometimes, but it's kind of fun too. They have one...
Low O2 is the worst.
Low O2. They have like a... Didn't they have like a gravity one? Where it's like gravity fluctuations or something like that? I don't know.
There's low gravity where you can just fucking zoom.
That's it. Yeah, it was low gravity. It's like they have some fun ones mixed in there with the ones that make, your game a living hell. And I think they need to kind of take a page from that book, so to speak. So it's not just like, oh, this one has mission modifiers. It's going to fucking suck even more.
I think what would be cool is if they added a modifier where, they keep adding enemies in there. They added a bigger enemy with the factory striders. It'd be cool if they added, like, a new classification of enemy, like a fucking... Instead of a Bile Titan, you get, like, the thing that fucking created the Bile Titan. But only on modifiers, and it's like, this is a hive of theirs. This is, like, the main hive of the planet, so you're gonna have to fight the big boy. He's present. He's not your target, but he is there.
Yeah.
I think that'd be cool. Let's see here. Disabled retrieve essential personnel defend event for time being. It's not deemed fun enough. I mean, that was just like the mini defense mission, right? You have to go to the place and then get like 20 people out.
Yeah. I
didn't think that one was that bad. Like, the full-blown one, where you just spawn in and it's already going, that one kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Super samples on 6.
Nice change.
Thoughts on that?
Nice change, in my opinion.
I thought it was really aesthetic for me to have, commons on 1 through 3, mediums on 4 through 6, and supers on 7 through 9. I thought that was pretty cool, but I can understand some people never being good enough to play 7.
Well, here's what I think. It's like every once in a while, I want to go in and like fucking fight for my life, fucking just go hardest difficulty possible. But I don't want to. I don't want to fucking do that after like a long fucking day work. I kind of want to just chill at like difficulty 6 or something like that, where I feel like the fucking Doom guy just fucking tearing through people, you know?
6 will still fuck you up. You're not Doom guy in 6.
Yeah, but it's a little easier.
I don't think you have to deal with like the artillery spewers or anything like that.
Yeah. It's not like fucking panic mode constantly, you know? and I think, and like you said, some people, they never want to play at the higher difficulties, and so they'll never have the chance to get those. So I think it's a good change, in my opinion.
I think it's for the better. I just like making my life hell on games for no reason, so... I like playing at the higher difficulties, but I think it's for the best to drop it down to 6. This one was something we've complained about since launch.
I am very happy about this next one. Yeah.
Siege artillery no longer blocked by stratagem jammers, ion storms, or after the mission timer ends. Why the fuck was it leaving before? That made no sense. It's on the planet.
Yeah. Can call in siege artillery whenever now. Doesn't matter if your destroyer's in orbit or not. Really like that change.
Which gives it a new use too. Now it's not, oh, the destroyer left and well, I still had a couple of shots in the mortar. I guess it's just gone. Now it's, do we save the artillery because we have a minute left on the mission? We still haven't called an extract.
Yeah.
Now that's our only stratagem we have.
It gives it extra utility.
Enemies in melee range of gates during evacuate high value assets will now attack gates more often. Thoughts on that one? Having the gates fall quicker.
It'll definitely make those missions a little more difficult, and I don't know if that's necessarily a bad thing. They were kind of easy. They were really fun, but they were kind of easy once you got a good strategy going.
I mean, if you just played the game like a tower defense, then...
Yeah, it wasn't hard to get a good strategy going either. Just plop down some fucking mortars and you're pretty much golden.
You don't even have to bring a support, because you could put mortar, EMS mortar, towards like the start of the map, so there's no chance of them getting hurt. Take a fucking HMG encampment and an autocannon sentry, plop those down at the front. You just man the HMG and play it as a tower defense.
Yep, pretty much.
Because apparently HMGs can punch through Hulk armors and maybe tank. I don't know. I don't think you can do tanks.
Maybe the back, but
I mean, you can hurt the vent.
Yeah.
HMG's poggers, that's all I'm saying.
Especially now that you can spin it really quick.
The next couple just, or whatever, added the ability to chat from in-game menus and mission loading screen. I never play public, so it doesn't matter. Updated some first-person crosshairs to improve readability. I'm hoping that means they moved it to be where the crosshairs are actually where the shot's going.
Yeah. That's what that is.
Invite-only lobbies are now supported. That's nice. You don't have to make like friends-only. Or private lobbies, whatever. You can just do invite-only.
Yeah.
New armor passive. Peak Physique plus 50% melee damage for the psychopaths that are doing that, apparently. And here's what I like. 30% weapon ergonomic.
I've heard that one is actually bugged right now, and it makes your weapon handling worse.
Nice.
So I don't know. I've seen some tests come out of it, and yeah, it makes your weapon handling worse. So I don't know if that's been fixed yet or not, but yeah, that's the last I heard on that one.
Right, I think we're coming up close to an hour, if not a little over, so we'll speed things up a little bit here.
It's okay. We can go a little over, and if we go a lot over, we can just make it 2 parts.
Planets and hazards. Spike
plants.
The spike plant that appears on certain planets has been reworked, no longer causes bleed or stamina drain by the plant or the explosion of spikes. And it now pumps 3 times, sending spikes everywhere, dealing increased damage.
That sounds awful. I don't know if I've ever seen one of those.
Oh yeah, you have. I've shot plenty of them. They just never hit anything. So they were really never that much of a hazard.
Now
if
they
you ever popped them, they just kind of pop like a porcupine.
Now they might be.
So that'll be interesting. I like this next one though. Fire tornadoes. They were fucking ass before. Now, behavior has been changed, and they should feel like they don't actively respond and track player movement. They move randomly. While fire tornado storms take place, the enemy vision is reduced, but your player vision is unaffected. So you can kind of move around a little bit more, actually, during the tornadoes and be advantageous.
Yeah.
And fire tornadoes being more random should resort in more variance in situations players find themselves in. Tornadoes are significantly less likely to pile up and overlap on extraction points or objectives.
Yeah, that was quite annoying.
That was awful.
It
Especially
did.
if you call it again. Oh
Yeah.
my god.
It did really feel like those fucking fire tornadoes were like heat seeking onto your player or onto the objectives and shit. It was fucking.
They did.
It was not fun.
They just fucking tracked you. You end up finding yourself like 3 or 4 of them just closing on you. Like, what do I do about that?
There's nothing you fucking can do about it. That's what sucked.
Tremors. Tremors have had their spawning tweaked to be slightly more random. I thought Tremors just affected the whole damn planet at once, personally, but I guess not. Tremors have had their epicenter size and effective range increased. And these changes to result in more situations where enemies away from the player get stunned, as well as reducing how consistently the player has Tremor occur next to them. I'm not sure how that works if you made their size bigger, but...
yeah, I don't know what's going on with that one either.
more the merrier, I suppose. Visibility. A lot of planets have had their fog amounts tweaked to be less harsh and dense, to provide less fatigue from constantly fighting on planets with bad visibility. We still intend there to be foggy planets with worse visibility, but the balance is a bit off. Desert planets, such as Erotocrine, Court Bay, and Hellminer, is similar. Highland planets such as Varela 5, Matar Bay, Oshan, and similar. Artificial light sources have had their intensity rebalanced and reduced across the board to fix situations of lights completely blinding the player.
Thank God.
I'm still just going to shoot them out immediately, but that was super annoying.
Yeah, fucking lights on like any objectives. You had to shoot them out or you couldn't see what the fuck you were doing at all.
It was pretty bad. This next one's kind of funny. Unexploded hell bombs. The unexploded malfunctioning hell bombs that can be found will now explode immediately if hit with a strong weapon or strong explosion or heavy weaponry. I didn't think they're really that hard to time anyway, if you just popped it with your primary.
That's
I
gonna
would guess.
Yeah, that's gonna be fucking funny if someone hasn't read the patch notes and just shoots a hell bomb with like an anti-material rifle, blows himself up.
Just their friends running by one, haha, auto
Boom!
Next friend just, oh shit. Vegetation. Vegetation is large enough to slow the player and has an extra function. When inside the vegetation, Helldivers will be harder to detect, reducing their detection range by enemies. This affects stacks, with other detection-reducing effects, such as nighttime. Didn't know nighttime actually affected that. So
Me
that's
either.
cool.
That's kind of cool.
Being crouched or prone, or things such as the scout armor. So now there's actually a reason to go with the thick bushes.
Yeah, you can fucking hide from
You can play Assassin's Creed.
more stealth. I like that. It's a
Yeah,
fun. It's
there
a
needs to be
fun.
more stealth.
It's a fun alternate play style.
Well, it's actually the preferred playstyle when you get into 7, 8, 9.
Yeah.
If you fight every patrol, you're gonna have a rough time. More VFX for ion storms. Cool to see what they did there, I suppose. Enemies. Acid effect. The acid effect applied by hunters, bug mines, etc. now allows you to sprint under the effect and slows you by 30% instead of 50. That's huge because hunters fucking suck.
Yeah.
But the duration has been increased by a second from 3 to 4. These changes were intended to make it less punishing for players being slowed while fighting Terminids, and allows us to use it in more places without making the experiencing very punishing. For example, Bile Spirit. We've toned down the amount of heavily armored enemies like Bile Titans, Chargers, higher difficulties, and instead spawn more hordes of smaller enemies. The difference should be quite noticeable, and the amount should be at least 30% less than before during bug breaches. We've also toned down slightly how many hulks that spawn from automatons. Our intent is to ease up on the demand of anti-tank weapons by having more of the other enemies to give a better incentive for the group to bring stratagems and take care of hordes. That should be nice.
I've seen gameplay from the new patch and it is a lot better. There is nowhere near you don't get the like fucking 10 fucking Bile Titans spawning anymore. It's like the most you see at one time is like maybe 3. And there's just a fuck ton more of the smaller cannon fodder guys. It's a lot better.
Pretty much my entire stratagem loadout since I've been able to play with high enough difficulty for Bile Titans and tanks has all been anti-armor. It's been Eagle 500, Orbital Rail, fucking Quasar Cannon. I forget the fourth, but it's all been very heavy armor focused.
Yeah. It's like this will allow you to kind of get away from that a little bit.
That'd be good. Patrol spawning back to how it was before, so that levels are less empty if you're far away from points of importance with enemy presence. I mean, the patrols are out of fucking control, so
Oh yeah.
major increase. Big thumbs up. Medium and large enemies now do not get stunned as easily. This does not affect the stratagems that stun, and mostly affect how easily the pummeler can stun larger enemies. Is that the SMG?
That's the new SMG.
Okay. Was it apparently just fucking cracked at how hard it
Oh
could stun?
yeah. It could stagger fucking chargers.
Jesus.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
I love the Punisher's dagger was pretty cool. I'm sad they took away the big benefits of the slugger before I could get it. Like being able to bust open containers with it, but I'll manage. Terminids. Bile spears and nursing spears will now be slowed if you cut off their legs. Their puke now applies acid effects. And the puke can now only damage Helldivers up to 4 times a second, and cannot take damage multiple times from the same projectile, therefore reducing instances where you're instant killed by it.
That's nice.
I've always been fairly well at dodging it, but I know a lot of people aren't, so that's new.
Even if
I would still get killed all the time, so it's big.
Yeah. Even if you are good at dodging it, getting fucking insta-killed by them still isn't fun.
Yeah, no, there's still sometimes that No matter how good you are at the game, they just sneak up on you and you're fucked.
That's a good change.
So, massive change. Bile Titan. Its head is slightly less durable against weaker anti-tanks. Not a huge change, but will mostly matter for weapons like the railgun. Small buff to the railgun. And the Bile Titan's puke has the same changes.
Nice.
I usually get instantly killed by their legs. I don't usually die by their...
Yeah, their like spewing is very well
it's telegraphed as hell.
Yeah, it's very well choreographed to you know when it's gonna happen, so it's easy to dodge.
But slightly weaker Bile Titan, that's a plus. So. And the Charger Behemoth, these guys are cool looking, and they've actually changed it to where they're different from normal Chargers.
Yeah.
Before it was just a reskin. Charger Behemoths are on the higher difficulties. It can take more damage than normal Chargers, enabling us to spawn fewer Chargers yet retain the difficulty. I like that.
Sounds like
just one big Charger versus 3 small ones.
Yeah, that sounds like a good change.
That's good.
It'll make it a lot. It'll keep the difficulty the same, but it'll make it a lot easier for team play wise to be like, okay, we can all focus on this one instead of you focus on this one, you focus on this one, you focus on this one, and like everyone needing anti-tank.
You're running around like, guys, I have a Charger on me, and everyone's like, cool, I have to.
Yeah, same.
Speaking of Chargers, they will now only show bleed out effects from the body if the bleed out state has started. They can still show it from the mouth, though, without having the bleed out state. So, easier to tell when you can just leave them alone and let them die.
Yeah, that was always confusing, too. It's like, it looks like they're fucking bleeding out, but they just will not fucking die. You're just like, what the hell?
I usually based it off if their ass was intact or not. If it was all blown apart, it's like, yeah, he's gonna die. The automatons. The Scorcher's flamethrower has the same change that the nursing spears have, so that's also big, because those things, I died by those way too often.
They could, like, one-shot you from so far away.
After I learned you could dive to put fires out, I stopped dying as much, but they were still ridiculous.
Yeah.
No warning as to when that flamethrower would go off, so you would just be fucked. The tanks. The tank armor value on the front has been lowered to be the same as the non-vent sections on the rear. Big change for the Quasar cannon, because you could kind of front it anyway, now you can really take it from the front. The intent was it was supposed to be more armored in the front, but the visual language did not show that. So I'm going to guess there's going to be a design change to the tanks, maybe? To make it look more heavily armored at the front, and then they'll change it back.
Yeah, maybe.
The vents on the back of the tank turret still have the same armor as before, but will now check for explosions correctly. Oh, so tanks will be easier to kill in every direction. That's good.
Good change.
This is probably my favorite. This is probably my favorite one right here. Explosion from automaton jump packs decreased by 50%.
Thank fucking God.
Will still set you on fire, but it's not going to just one-tap you if they're too close.
Yeah, those things were super annoying.
I treated them as suicide bombers. I just ran away.
Yeah. If you couldn't shoot them like out of the sky or before they took off, you were just fucked.
Getting to the last part here, because I'm not going to go over crash fishes or known issues.
Yeah.
But Galactic War blinks, aka supply lines and origins of attacks, have been added. That's pretty big for anyone that doesn't use the companion app. Supply lines were not previously shown on the map to reduce clutter and improve readability. However, based on feedback from our community, we've made an implementation showing them on the map. This solution tries to maintain the general readability while exposing the systems players in the game. You will now also be able to see which planet an attack is originating from, potentially allowing it for the community to stop the attack at its source. That's cool.
That's a big change as well. Because I know there's a lot of people who don't, I guess per se, take the game as seriously and won't go look at the companion app to try to figure out where like their resources are going to best be utilized, and just having that in game is just a nice quality of life improvement.
Well, heading over to the app real quick, if we head on to this one in particular, the system where Hellmeyer, Zygon Prime, Oshani, and Evil 43, that was when the problem really started, because people thought they could get the Zygon Prime to keep that system, take that system. It was a really early major order that came through, that they could just they could take Hellmeyer, which would let them go to Oshani
and then over to
and Zygon Prime. Hellmeyer does not connect to Oshani, and instead we took Fori Prime, which led us into Oshani. And for whatever reason, instead of taking Evil 43, everybody was like, oh, let's take Oshani, it'll give us a direct line. They took that, and we still couldn't get in there because it went to Omicron, the next sector.
Yeah.
And we lost the fucking order because nobody knew how to actually get to the planet. So that's cool. That's a good feature.
Yeah,
And
it's really good for major orders and just kind of understanding how and where things go. Where it makes it a lot easier to focus forces.
pick and choose some of the fixes here, because some of them are important, some of them aren't that much. The spear's targeting has been reworked and functions a lot better, but it lost the ability to target automaton spawners, but that's not intended and will be fixed. That was like the biggest downside to the spear, was it couldn't lock onto shit.
Yeah, it was really hard to get it to lock onto things properly.
Intense heat and extreme cold environment will now affect the quasar cannon reload speed due to it not having a energy build up, so makes sense. Cold planets reduce it by 2.5 seconds. Hot planets make it 2.5 seconds longer. So
good change.
Gotta actually keep that. You gotta use it like the rest of the energy weapons. Don't bring it on hot. Take it on cold.
Yeah.
Good change. Radar pulse that detects enemies on the minimap is now visible. I'm not sure that was really a necessary change, but I guess more VFX, so. Alright. Most of the automaton weapons have now gotten tighter limits to how much the projectile they shoot can deviate from its weapon muzzle angle. What this means is that in situations where Devastators shoot sideways should be fixed.
That's good.
I never did that problem, but that's kind of fun.
I have seen it. It is kind of bullshit. They're like facing 45 degrees away from you, and their gun just like still shooting at you perfectly.
That's funny.
Yeah, I thought it was just like an animation glitch, honestly, but no, I guess not.
The weapons of the exosuits are now allowed small adjustments in the angle they fire their projectiles versus their muzzle angle, which should make it more accurate. So we can cheat, but the bots can't.
Good shit.
And I think the last one that's... Oh, just kidding, I see a couple more. Ballistic shield now collides with grenades. Didn't really know that was an issue, but I mean, makes sense for it to be there. The burning effect applied to the player when a combat walker dies is now a normal burn. The intent is that you should be able to escape You should be able to escape it alive, but you will be set on fire, so hit the ground.
That's a good change, because it was you were just fucking dead. There was like no way to escape it.
If the walker wouldn't have, you were dead. So, neat. That'll be more of a reason to bring the walker. I think this is the last. I guess I have 3 left, and any more that you have, we'll go over. Extraction shuttle can no longer take damage. I never had the extraction shuttle, I guess, blow up, but it's good that it can't now.
Yeah.
Players can no longer just be invisible.
When was that a thing?
Oh, I've seen it happen multiple times. So that's good. That's good for me. Reduced situations where blue stratagems would bounce when placed next to detector towers. That was annoying as hell.
Thank God.
I think it can still happen if you're too close, but not as close. So thankful for that. And the last one I see is reduce situations in which Helldivers can spontaneously die. Or actually, I was reading the wrong one. Fixed issue where Helldivers could be launched into the air if close to a Bile Titan or Factory Strider corpse.
Yeah, that's happened before.
I think it's only happened to me once, and it's
very
funny as hell.
It's very funny.
Annoying. It's funny to see it, because you're like, what the fuck, as you're 9 miles away from the combat zone. But a little annoying when you're going to extract.
Yeah. The only other one I see is fixed superior packing methodology not working. That one hasn't been working since it fucking came out. So it's good that there's finally a fix for it. Evidently they had it fixed for the host, but not working for other peers. So, but it should be fixed just completely now. So.
What is that one?
That's where you get. I can't remember. Is that one I think it's extra support ammo for your support weapons. Your support weapons come in with full ammo. If I remember right.
Oh, it's a good question. We'll have to look for which one that one is.
And then they have just a bunch of crash fixes. How many is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 crash fixes. Jeez, can't talk. Good that they fixed that. And then they have... Oh, well, actually, the list of known issues has been getting smaller, so that's also good.
The update's a gig. The patch is a gig.
Yeah, it was a big update. But yeah, that's the new Helldivers update that came out on... When did this come out? Like a week ago?
June 13th. So,
yeah,
6 days.
Just about a week ago.
A week from when this will go live.
Yep. So we'll, I guess for next time we'll do a little tier list of guns and stuff in the game and kind of give you a rundown of how it is now. It'd be a nice return after taking a little break, because I don't know the last time I played it.
The time I played was June 2nd. I played one mission.
Yeah, that was probably around the last time I played it as well. It's been a little while, just because, it hadn't been... It kind of lost its fun, with them nerfing everything. But I think this new patch is a real good change.
Well, not even the nerf. It was just the fucking patrols. It made playing duos horrible.
Yeah, well, they made all of the guns... They didn't make all the guns worse, but they made... If any one gun stood out, they made it worse, and they made the enemies harder. when the community had pretty much been saying to do the opposite the entire time. And I think with this latest update, they finally kind of got that.
It was just the bug of, if you're playing solo, it was fine. If you're playing a 4-man, it was fine. But if you're playing 2 or 3, you're fighting the patrols of a 4.
Yeah.
And that was ass. It just made it impossible to play anything higher than like 5. Difficulty 5 was like as high as you could play and not just have the worst experience.
It really killed the fun factor.
So they fixed patrols, buffed a bunch of guns. Now's probably a good time to get back to it.
Reduce the heavy enemies.
Reduce the heavy enemies.
And
especially just chargers were just so fucking annoying.
Yeah. And came out with a pretty cool looking war bond. So yeah, I guess we'll give you a review next time. This episode's currently going on an hour and 20 minutes, so I might actually break this up into 2 parts. So
Just give us 2 weeks to test everything.
Yeah. So I think I will probably break this episode up into 2 parts, and we'll see you in 2 weeks with our tier list and how everything's going. Hopefully I won't be sick by then.
Oh, yeah, hopefully.
Okay. Quick little aside. My boss got sick. I guess he's not my boss anymore since I switched to water. But my old boss got sick, and he was out of work for 3 goddamn weeks. I don't know what the hell he had. I am hoping I don't have that. But yeah, he was really sick. It's like, damn, dude, are you gonna fucking die? But
You'll have plenty of time to test Helldivers.
Exactly. I'm feeling better today than I was yesterday, so I should be good. And he's back. He did not die, so.
He did not, in fact, die.
Did not, in fact, die, so. But anyway, I think that's a good place to end it. So we'll see you guys, well, for you next week. For us, probably in 2 weeks with a little tier list and a kind of a review of what's going on in Helldivers once again. So thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you in the next one.
See you guys next time.